a lot of craze here. That was, what is it, fastest, 12 sensors, facial recognition, but there was a bit of an embarrassment on stage when it comes to self-parking.
It doesn't self-park as you might expect, even a cheap Ford to do it these days. It's interesting to see how many companies are able to work in this kind of technologies. It is not Tesla's game alone. We tend to focus on Tesla, I think, in Silicon Valley so much because it's a Silicon Valley company. But in fact, the automakers from startups like this or companies like Ford and many others, Audi, BMW, all working on a lot of these ideas. Porsche, interestingly, a lot of interesting work around electric cars. So this is Tesla might have pointed the way, but a lot of companies are coming very fast into this space.
Selena, the Chinese billionaire, was there at the event. In fact, it was him where it was the slightly embarrassment made that the car didn't quite park. I think he called it a bit lazy that day. But tell us a little bit more about the billionaire behind this company.
So the billionaire behind it, Zhao Youting, he goes by YT. He's very well known in China. He's known for being very brash, very ambitious, sometimes too ambitious. He actually started out as the local IT guy at his tax bureau, and he's really made his fortunes in the publicly traded company Lesi, which is basically kind of like the Netflix of China. It's been growing very fast. But from there, he's quickly expanded into a slew of other businesses ranging from smartphones, VR headsets, TVs, movies, smart bikes, you name it, and he's expanded into it. But recently we're seeing that he may have expanded a bit too aggressively. He wrote in an internal memo to employees recently that they're moving too fast and they're having trouble raising cash. But again, he's a very brash, well-known person in China. He said things like Apple is a very slow innovator and we can outbeat Elon Musk and Tesla.
Outbeat another rather ambitious man who sets high targets, which is Elon Musk.
You pointed out the self-parking problem. When the Tesla Model X was first unveiled down in Los Angeles, Elon Musk couldn't get the trunk to open. And when they got another model where he's showing it off, he got out of the car and smacked his head when he was trying to show off how the headroom the car had. It showed how little it has. Now he's a very tall guy, but nonetheless, these sort of live demos, a la Steve Jobs, are hard to pull off, and it's interesting. You see every CEO of every kind of industry now think they've got to go on the stage, quite often in blue jeans and a black turtleneck, and introduce their products as opposed to the ways that cars and other devices used to be released. One
thing I tend to find at tech conferences is the technology doesn't work, and certainly neither does the Wi-Fi. But Selena, talk to us about the money that has been put into this particular element, Faraday, when it comes to the billionaire. How much money is he winning? Is he losing? When do these things start to sell?
So, I mean, he put in $300 million of his own money into this. He has a very kind of unique way of financing his ventures. He basically pledges his shares in his publicly traded company and plows it into all of his ventures. We learned at CES that you can reserve this car for $5,000. It's unclear how much this is going to retail for when it comes out, apparently in 2018. I think that after last year's CES, there was a lot of skepticism around Faraday Future since they didn't release any functioning car. It was merely a concept car, and this year we got an actual functioning car, but we still have a lot of questions hanging in the air. Lots of skepticism around how are they going to make money. This is incredibly expensive to produce. It's unclear what the business plan is going to look like.
5,000 to order. It was only 1,000 when it came to a Tesla. Talk to us a little bit more today, Corey, about what's going on with Tesla, because it's not all about cars. We forget that it does have a gigafactory, and that's running, and they've hit their deadline.
Well, we'll see what the actual production is out of that. Tesla has a history of not hitting its deadlines and missing its own estimates, as we've discussed. It's also interesting, this production issue, right, which is going to happen to all these car makers. Production is hard. Tesla this quarter said that they had production problems. They couldn't get as many cars out as they want. They said that they had the same excuse for missing numbers in the first quarter. So these recurring problems about being able to produce as much as they thought they were and doing it successfully is really hard with this business that is the Model X and the Model S. Now, when they want to get to a much larger level of, they would have to more than double production this year and the next year, which they've been unable to do, in order to get the levels of Model 3 that they want to produce.
But the Gigafactory, today that's the news coming from Tesla, and the shares are popping. They're up more than 4%, even though we saw them fall after hours yesterday on the concerns of the car part of the business. Gigafactory up, running, they've hit their deadline.
The factory is running. How much they're producing, though, is a question mark. And we'll see what they actually produce over time, and if there's any value there, and if there's demand for this product, right? Where there are dozens and dozens and dozens of competitors who can hang a battery in your garage for questionable use.
Selena, what do you think about some of the debate that's going on when it comes to CES, of course, of who wins, whether it's indeed the tech companies or it's the auto companies. But Faraday wants to own the data. I mean, what is the value in selling these cars? Is it all from what they make in terms of profitability on the actual car itself, or where does this billionaire's vision go?
Yeah, I want to talk about this in the context of Leica because they have a kind of a very unique vision. I had a chance to sit down with YT at their headquarters a few months ago, and he laid out this very broad vision of what he wants the consumer to experience. So imagine this. You have your Leica cell phone, you start watching a Leica movie on it. Then you may hail an autonomous Leica electric vehicle where you continue to watch that movie in the car. And then you exit the car, you finish where you left off, you watch it on a Leica, a VR headset, and then continue on a Leica smart TV. So as you can tell from this scenario, cars are a really integral part of this vision because YT sees a future of electric vehicles, of autonomous cars, and that car, that vehicle is another place to watch content. And let's remember that this company actually started as a software content maker, and all of these devices and hardware, cars, smartphones, you name it, is all just shells to hold all of their software. So in the context of YT, it's a very, very broad vision he has.